Hi, I'm Melissa Fisher. Do you have commercial or industrial properties? How secure is your investment? Are interest rates starting to exceed your return? Do you have vacancies and now have to top up your loan payments? Commercial investing generally is considered to be riskier than residential and harder to get into. My thoughts on commercial investing are very, very different to most. I believe done well, commercial holds less risk than residential because it is backed by data, substantiated, and it is not emotionally driven. Harder to get into? Well, that's only perceived based on knowledge. So if you have commercial property that's doing less than exceptional, well, here are 5 tips to creating secure commercial investments that don't cost you personally and head you towards double-digit returns on your purchase. Tip number 1. Remember what your greatest asset is. We often think that it's the building or the land that is our greatest asset. However, that is our greatest opportunity. Our greatest asset is our tenant. The value of our property is based on the lease we have in place. So much care needs to be given to ensuring this is written well and maintained over time. Select your tenant carefully. Never take a tenant out of desperation. Make sure they can afford the lease amount in the first instance and with the annual increases. So they have an annual increase price structure that accounts for all annual increases. You want longevity for your tenant. Build a relationship and discuss things like subleasing small portions of space if they need to. This will also help you to understand the foot traffic and clientele that they need. Don't self-manage unless this is your expertise. Self-managed properties often miss aspects of leases that make the biggest difference. Mainly dates, rent increases, how many square meters belongs to which tenant, are all the square meters actually being paid for, and expenses being charged out accordingly. While all of this seems like there's no consideration for the tenant, which is our greatest asset, to the contrary, it puts you in a position to ensure that all lease obligations are actually accounted for and therefore delivering the best value to you while maintaining a good relationship with your tenant. It also means that you can focus on other ways to increase property income and support your tenant. If you're consumed by lease technicalities, then you are not actually able to create the best outcomes for everyone. This also means that you manage one person, your manager, and then they manage everyone else. So choose well. Tip number 2, every square meter counts. So when you're buying or going over your leases, make sure unallocated square meters are reclaimed and utilized accordingly. This will generally mean you need to converse with your tenants. Remember, this is not an emotional game. It's business and data driven. So have discussions armed with facts and benefits. For example, if you have some industrial building and you're going to utilize some outdoor area that's not leased, however, it's currently used by tenants sprawl, give the tenant the first option of adding it to their lease, or demonstrate solutions for them where they don't need to sprawl the way they are, and make sure the new use is beneficial to the existing tenancies. In this scenario, it may be a coffee pot or some storage units, depending on your size, locality, and demand. Tip number 3, support tenants with incentives. Whether you're bringing in tenants for the first term or you're supporting them through an industry issue, never reduce the rent. This simply reduces the value of your asset and can have adverse effects with your lenders. Give tenants incentives that help them and make their experience a good one. You can give a rent-free period to get established or contribute to a fit-out to the value of whatever that may be. Install solar to help cut costs. Even reduce the space they lease if it is viable for their business. This way you can lease it to someone else. I had a client years ago that I was supporting through changes in their business and some challenges they had that only used the space as a restaurant at night. They never opened for lunch. So we leased the upstairs space as office area for meetings during the day. Perfect, because it paid all their rent. Hey, we're not done yet. I've got 2 more hot tips for you. If you're getting value from this video, let me know by hitting the thumbs up. And if you want to be the first to be notified when I release new videos, press the subscribe button. So tip number 4, is the use of your property still current? When a tenant leaves, think carefully as to why. Demographics change over time and some businesses no longer fit in a particular area or even a particular building. If this is the case, don't replace them with the same business. Look at what the area needs and how the area supports the new use and the incoming tenancy. Remember, we want longevity for our tenants. This is good for us and it's great for our tenants, as it's costly for them to shift as a business. And also consider the staff and the families that rely on the operations being a success. Look at your current tenancies. Don't be afraid to talk to them about their business, especially when you see change in your area. This has a huge impact with industry changes as well. You can support a tenant moving to a more appropriate place and replace them with a business that suits the changes. Sometimes a change of use permit's required to be able to undertake this, so make sure you're compliant and factor in time. Being proactive means you're not under pressure and you can create a great experience for all parties. So some suggestions: think offices to apartments or co-working space, old pubs into retail and accommodation. Know your council's future plan. Always endeavour to have multiple income streams for one property. This means you are less likely to have no income coming in at all. Tip number 5, consider roof space, one of my favourites. Buildings are great. However, once full, we need to look up and sometimes even sideways. Make sure you use commercial lawyers to write any leases in regards to this and ensure the wording is specific to who controls what. You want to control the use of the external, the side or rear walls that faces the traffic, and the space above the roof. Control means you have decision-making right. You can let your tenants use it. You can use it or sell it for advertising space. You could use it as an incentive for your other tenancies for a period of time and then change that accordingly later. Signage is valuable if you're in the right area. Signage can be retail business, it can be marketing, it can be government advertising or directional signage. Either way, it's income and easily managed. Digital signage is brilliant if you're considering rooftop signage. Just consider the height. So, consider who can actually see it. Back of buildings that face railway lines and close to stations are very, very valuable real estate. Don't waste them. If you're not positioned well for signage, then look at access and engineering. Can you build up? What about rooftop pop-ups? They're very cool in the right location and very valuable. So maybe think dining, bars, small exclusive amphitheatre. There is a lot to consider with roof space. However, make sure the return is there before you launch into the strategy. Make sure it's suited to the building and to the area. Do your research on permits, demand, costs, and don't be led by old ways and new times. There should be no reason why your commercial property doesn't give you great returns, but you do need to be proactive in order to get there. Now, which tip do you like best? Leave me a comment below, and even if you didn't get any value from this video, let me know in the comments and tell me what it is you'd like to see next, what I could improve on. Anyway, see you in the next video.